Next up, we have the dud of the week. Gally, who's the dud?
So I could easily throw Aston Villa out there because I think Villa's basically almost tried to been the dud of the week every single week, from losing to what is a championship side in Bournemouth to almost giving Everton a chance to draw from two up in stoppage time. And then, of course, just the absolute capitulation last week. But for me, it's pretty hard to look past West Ham. I mean, this is a club that got to a Europa League semifinal last year, really felt like they were in a shout for the Champions League spots. Thought they had one of the better offseason and windows that any side outside of maybe City had in all of the Premier League. And to be 0 and 3, 0 points, 0 goals scored. That's a tough spot to be. And two of those losses happening at home. And, Brighton is playing great, and I think they deserve a lot of credit. And we should devote some time on one of these shows to talking about the sides that are really impressing us so far early in the season. And I think Brighton would be at the top of that list for me if it was just my eye told me what was improved from last season. But West Ham, um, they didn't lose that much. Antonio looks just a completely different player. I don't know how much longer Moyes can start Antonio through the center with him just running aimlessly and looking lost. They look better almost in every match as soon as they institute the 6'5" Italian striker. I know it's crazy, right? Have guys who can cross, put in a target man who can knock it down. It's just a novel concept. I know Moyes is very, very loyal. Um, but I think he's got a couple big calls to make. I think he's got to think about replacing Fabianski with Areola. I think the kid is why they bought him. He's a young French keeper. I think he might be a better option for them. And I think he's got to seriously think about even the Suchek Rice two-man double pivot because it's not working right now. And if Suchek isn't knocking in dead headers from inside the 6-yard box and Declan Rice isn't offering you the leadership and drive, you have to replace them with players who are, and they have some alternate options, and it'll be interesting to see what they do going forward. But I think West Ham's in some trouble because what we've seen is West Ham supporters, they can turn quick on that side and that team. And I hope it doesn't happen, but I think they're by far my dud of the week.
Yeah, that's a good shout. I almost actually went with Villa as well, even though, like I say, Palace has proven themselves to be a good, solid team to play against. So I am going with Leicester City as my dud of the week because I feel like, man, this is a typical Brandon Rogers syndrome, right? If you're a regular of our YouTube channel and watch the morning coffee with American Scouser, Mecca gets a record number of Brandon Rogers bashings, and we were at 11, I think, last week. Actually, might have even hit 12 in a week. And I think that's the thing. It's just like this team is leaking in goals and plays almost every game with the lackadaisical attitude of like a preseason game where the score doesn't matter. Let's play pretty. Let's see what happens. Kind of like attacking. I think there are a lot of players over there who maybe their minds are not in it, and maybe the end of the month will help that get that team kind of like back to where it should be. So many players rumored to be leaving and going here and not liking that extensions and things like that. Maybe once the 31st comes and goes, it would be like, okay, I guess we're here, let's get back to work. But losing at home to Southampton, that should be, we when we did our preseason previews, we did not rank Southampton very high, and Leicester City with only 1 point to show for their season so far, and that was giving up a lead to Brentford at home. So it's just not looking good for that team right now. Brendan Rodgers, who's already kind of like overseen a couple of collapses of this team. I know they have very loyal owners there and good owners that kind of like pride themselves on that loyalty. But I don't know how much longer they can kind of like watch this unfold because their schedule now gets really tough. They play Chelsea, then they play United, then they go to Brighton, and then they go to Villa. I guess that would be last. That would be like a nice change of pace for them. But then they play Tottenham. So it's a very tough stretch, and you could see them going with 0 points, except maybe that Villa game. So it's going to be interesting to see how they turn out. But their performance this week made me pick them as dud of the week.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I do agree with you. The owners are very loyal, but I get a kick out of that when people say that to me, like, "Oh, the Leicester, they're so loyal. They're the most loyal owners. This guy won the FA Cup. They can't get rid of him." Claudio Ranieri made the greatest win in the history of professional sports, and they blew him out by Thanksgiving the following year. So I do think that for all that loyalty, Brendan Rodgers is going to have to watch that seat because they might have been your dud of the week. He could end up being the EPL's, dud of the first half from a manager standpoint because I don't know if they turn it around. And I think you're right. I think Leicester's in some trouble.